Hey guys, what's going on? Uh, Okay, guys, getting on here on Tuesday. I wanted to talk to you about first. Let's start off with some home care news. Thank you so much. Start off with some home care news. Interestingly, I was trying to go live on another page. It says it's not. I can't do that. Okay, all right. So first, I want to go over some home care news. This just came through today. Let me post this. Hey, good morning. Thanks for joining me. For those who are joining me for the first time, my name is Sean, aka the Savvy Business Chick, making sure you know your purpose and destiny in the marketplace. So I want you guys to see March the 4th. This is some Hemkin news. Hemkin news. And I'll probably be going live a couple of times this week so that I can kind of get caught up with you guys. So let me share this screen. And while you're watching, let me know where you're watching me from. Let me know where you're watching me from. Let me do my housekeeping. Okay. Hey, everybody, this is Sean, aka the Savvy Business Chick. For some reason, I ain't playing around. My account was recently hacked on Instagram. So if you've been looking for Savvy Business Chick on Instagram, go on over to Home Care Mentor. Home Care Mentor. I started a new account while we are fixing everything. We're working it out. So I'm going to type that into on IG as this is what happened, Kiki. I got a message. Okay, so here's the whole story. I got a message I didn't even click a link. I got a message saying from Meta with the Meta background or whatever like that, saying that someone had accessed my account through like from Mumbai, India, right? And so I went to my email to change it says if it's not you, change the password. And this is where the rabbit hole began. And so I changed my password and it took me to Instagram. So this was the whole funnel of how it came about. So, and essentially I did click a link and it just, the interesting thing about it is that you can't even see my Instagram account. So like I had this, one of my friends, someone took over her account. I don't know if it was a year and a half ago. I mean, I say friends, one of my business associates. I often refer her on if someone wants to start a assistant living facility. She's really, really good. She definitely knows her stuff. She had messaged me, oh my gosh, someone took over. So someone took over her account. She could still see it, right? And they were just operating as her, right? And she eventually got it back. This person you can't even see my account. This is the crazy thing about it. You can't even see my account. So with that, they sent me an email, not a bad person. If you want your account back, pay me this much money. Do I have the money? Yes. I'm like, I can't trust you. Like, first of all, he sent me some screenshots of people that he paid their amount, and it really looks like you would end up paying more anyway, right? So like initially he's like saying $400, but then like one of the videos that he sent, well, one of the screenshots he sent, I saw where someone said I paid the second amount. So to me, I'm like, I ain't messing around. I ain't messing around. So um totally like not understanding like how can this even happen with a verified account. That's like my first thought. How can this happen with a verified account? And then secondly, I'm like, well, I'm just going to rebuild. I am just going to rebuild. And I have 17,000 followers on Facebook that I'm going to be giving some extra attention to. Facebook, no offense, but Facebook, I kind of felt like a lot of the older home care consultants are on Facebook, right? That's their area. So I, practice preach the blue ocean strategy, right? So with the blue ocean strategy, I want to be in places where a lot of my colleagues, I don't even want to call them competitors, are not. So this is why I really, you know, made my presence on TikTok. And even though some of them are on TikTok, they're not giving you guys the same kind of information like how I share here. Then on Instagram, I already have my position there. I have 17,000 followers on Facebook, so I'm going to definitely do some reinvesting my time there, posting more, and then I am on YouTube and Pinterest. So I am probably going to be doing a series, guys, on social media or growing your social media page, right? And you can kind of come along with me as I grow my new one using the same principles that um, I'm going to be using for my page, that you can grow your home care business page, right? These are one thing about principles, right? Is that when you apply them, they work, right? You're doing it on a consistent basis, they work. So far, I started this new page, and I think I have 10 followers, right? It's only been 2 days, 10 followers. I haven't even like really shared my new page, address, which I've shared now. It's Home Care Mentor on Instagram, right? And actually, I have 13 followers, right? 13 followers. Okay, thank you so much. I see I got a new follower, and like I just tried to go live there, and they're not letting me go live. They're like, my page is not big enough. Fine, I'm going to do that. I'm going to follow the principles, follow the steps, work growth, right? So this is where like I posted before. Hey, I started with 0 followers too. I started with 0 clients too. So if I'm telling you do these things for your business, guess who's been there where you are before? And it does take consistency, and it does take um, a strategy, right? So as I am about to share the content for today, the lesson for today, please, I see I only have 1 heart on TikTok. Oh my gosh. I was on a live yesterday, and the person, she didn't even start talking until she got the 10K. I was like, the audacity. She's like, I ain't gonna even start sharing till I get to till I get to 10K. Now I ain't gonna treat you guys like that. Number one, I don't have that time to sit around and wait, right? But I would, if you so kindly, if you please, uh, let's get up to 1,000 hearts, and then I'll start sharing. What it does, right, guys, is that it lets people know that it's like doing something with the algorithm. And this is something I will talk about when we do this series. And you guys can let me know what time of the day I should be doing it. Because we already have our like midday class, which is on Wednesdays. So maybe you guys may need something more in the evenings, but I want to kind of adapt to different time zones. Let me go read these comments. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Okay. It was just people joining. I thought, you got a question? Yes. What's your question? Thank you for the gift. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for the gifts. You finally received your PA home care license. Congratulations. I have YouTube over here. We have someone, YouTube and Facebook, excuse me. Over here we have someone in TikTok world that received their home care license. We are so happy for you. We look forward to hearing that you're growing your business. I have a free video on my Savvy Business Chick YouTube channel, and it's titled "What to Do After You Get Licensed." Right? So go check that out and go from there. Okay. Okay. And I just seen your question. I just answered it. Your first 3 steps. Yes, my 10-minute free sessions are on Thursday now. I'm a director of an international organization, and they kept having meetings on Tuesdays. And number one, if they would randomly have a meeting on Tuesday, it would mess up my free call schedule. And then I tell you guys all the time, if I feel like I'm not strong enough in a particular area, I go take a class myself. So I'm also in a group where I am being trained on, how to like do better on TikTok specifically. I have like this love for TikTok, and she started doing her classes at 12:30, and so I had missed 4 classes paying, like for this group, this small group coaching session, it's $1,800 a month, guys. So when you guys come to me like, oh, how much is your mentorship? I'm like, I pay $1,800 a month for uh, weekly classes, that which I've missed most of last month, and social media strategies. And one of the things I love about her is that she's definitely the real deal, and she has helped a lot of influencers grow their page. And I'm all about real results. So yes, they have been changed to Thursdays. So I got a tire business, and I'm soon heading to college. What should I do to grow my business? That's an interesting question. Okay, so we're talking about home care, but I got a question about a tire business, and you're soon growing. What should you do to grow your business? Well, first of all, the first thing I can think of is that on the college campus, only certain people can drive, right? Can drive their cars there. So you need to do some market research of who is your ideal customer there. Is it the teachers or professors, or is it the students that's going to be traveling far? Maybe some students go back and forth home over the weekend. I would offer some kind of, I don't know what your tire business includes, But the first thing, you guys know, I'm always going to say, do your market research. Find out who is your ideal client, and then cater your services to what they're going to need. Are they going to need tire rotation? Are they going to need an occasional change of tires? Are they going to need new tires? And then I would divide it up, and then I would start my promotion from there. Maybe I would give do some kind of membership for someone who wants their tires rotated, every 3 months, something like that. So not knowing what your what all of your business services includes, that's my answer. Oh, I need to change my bio. Oh, do I recommend to apply in college? What do you mean apply in college? You mean go into college? I do home health in Alabama. How can I get government big contracts? Okay. How long have you been in business? That's my first question. How long have you been in business? To do government contracts, be prepared. You need to have, a management team, number one, because that's one of the things that's going to go in your proposal. Who is your management team? It can't just be you. You need to have a management team. You need to have to be able to show your staffing ratio. Do you have a staffing scheduling plan? Do you have a clean balance sheet to show your debt to income ratio? Do you have reserves for payroll? I got questions. That's not an easy answer. I could just say, well, you can go look up your local procurement, but would you be actually ready to submit a bid? Okay. So that's a little bit a complex question. Okay, so let me get into this home care news. Home care news. What do you mean you get skilled clients? Oh, I submitted my survey readiness to the state. They informed me that I need skilled clients. Okay. Did you submit it? Are you a personal care or are you a home health? This is the part I don't know because you have a consultant that helped you out. And I'm going to get to yeah, you do. If you want to be skilled, you could only use skilled clients for your survey. Okay, guys. Okay, first up in home care news, a home care agency in the state of California has been ordered to pay $3 million to resolve where they had false claims for Medicare hospice benefits, right? So here's the article. What I think I'm going to do is post the article links. I'll do it on LinkedIn and in my stories on my home care mentor Instagram. Okay, so the U.S. Department of Justice announced that Said Enterprises Incorporated, operating as Said Healthcare, so essentially it's Said Enterprises and their DBA is Said Healthcare, agreed to pay $3 million to reserve allegations, right? So this is the allegations that they knowingly submitted false claims for Medicare hospice benefits, despite patients not being terminally ill. Ooh. So the settlement resolved a lawsuit original filing under the quitam provisions of the False Claims Act, right? False Claims Act. Homework, look up False Claims Act, right? This is, okay, I'm talking to the home care administrator, right? One of the things that we put on, in our policies and procedures is that the home care administrator is supposed to be knowledgeable and to make sure that the company is in compliance with federal, state, and local laws. Federal, state, and local laws. Write that down. Home care administrator or home health care administrator ensures the agency is in compliance with federal, state, and local laws, right? And don't forget to do the hearts, guys. So we're most familiar with our state laws because that is where our license falls under. We're licensed by state. And I often get people ask me a question. Hey, if I'm licensed, and say, for example, I'm going to answer your question in just a second to show that's cool. If I'm licensed in Texas and I want to start a home care or home health care agency in Illinois, can I just, start operating? No, each state has its own licensing process. So you would have to essentially get a license per state. What a lot of franchises do is the franchise will, you're buying the brand, the franchise, but you have to still submit a license application and the policies and procedures and go through that application process in order to be able to operate your business. So for this news update, again, this came today, I want you as homework to look up the False Claims Act. And when you look up the False Claims Act, you just want to become familiar with this act, right? And it will apply to you if you are providing Medicare level services as a skilled home health care agency or Medicaid. So even Medicaid, right? Medicaid. And then lastly, insurance, right? A lot of private insurance companies, as a part of your enrollment, they will ask you for your billing policy, right? They will ask you for your billing policy, and they will want to see that you are your billing practices, your financial practices are in line with the False Claim Act, right? So again, one of the things we need to do is become familiar with these things. Don't be afraid to read. Don't be afraid to look these things up so that you can know what it means and how it could relate to your business. And don't just think because you are non-skilled personal care that you may not be held accountable for something like that. So in closing, the Medicare patients that for this allegation are only eligible for hospice care if they're terminally ill. So essentially, how I translate it is that this person is a Medicare certified agency and they used the wrong billing code. So hospice, and they could have, and some agencies have dual licenses like hospice home health. They used the wrong billing code and they were not essentially diagnosed as terminally ill. They could have, palliative care, end of life care is not hospice. It is the road leading to it, but it's not hospice. And so if he used a billing code in which for terminally ill, which means the patients without treatment has a life expectancy of 6 months or less, then, and this was between 2013 to 2020 that they did the investigation. And here's something you also need to be mindful of is that the state auditors for like a Medicare, a Medicaid, your private insurance, they are playing the long game. They will wait and collect information until they have enough evidence to build up a case. I mean, just imagine that they waited until his now what he has to pay back is $3 million to resolve it. It says that the settlement resolved a lawsuit originally filed, and the relators will receive $540,000 as a part of the settlement, right? So who are the relators? Okay, so and then lastly, actually they were considered, let me show you this part, a skilled nursing agency. So sometimes skilled nursing in some states can also provide Medicare. It should sue the company and executives on fraudulent billing, right? So this one and this one, what could have happened is that someone could have filed something to the Attorney General, and because it has to do with fraud, then they did an investigation. Okay, so this is a completely different one. All right, so I'm going to go on to the next news update, but the purpose of me sharing that is so that you look into the act and you do better with your billing practices. Okay, so here's a company that I am finalizing my re-accreditation with, and that is ACHC. Have you guys heard of ACHC? It's an accreditation company. So many sources. And I'm kind of sharing, guys. Look, this one is HME News, right? HME News, right? So ACHC renewed as and deemed the authority for home health accreditation, which is a pretty big deal, right? Because if you've ever heard of, JCO, if you're looking to get accredited, there are only like 3 accreditation companies that you can that will do home care and home health care. Okay, so ACHC is the one I chose. They wanted me to. They sent me something for chats as well, CHP, and ACHC is the one I chose, and then it's JCO. So JCO has always been super scary to me. I don't know why, but when I first got licensed, I hung around the big sister, right? So even though I'm a skilled nursing agency. My big sister was Medicare certified agencies, and I was not Medicare certified because my path was the what you call that? My path was pediatric, right? And so I didn't need to bother with Medicare when I first got started. So I was always like intimidated by JCO. I'm like, JCO accredited hospitals, they think super scary. Skilled does not have to be accredited. So that's a correction. If you want to become a Medicare certified agency, then you have to go the accreditation path. If you are some private insurance companies, if you do a skilled agency, then they will ask you for the accreditation. Some will you can get a contract with them without it, but for the most part, they can make that a part of your entry requirement is to ask for your accreditation. ACHC, CHAPS, JCO. So this article is essentially saying that ACHC, they renewed. Who did they renew with? They had to renew with CMS, right? The same company that they basically makes people Medicare providers, right? See, the Accreditation Commission for Healthcare, that's what it stands for, has received continued approval from CMS as a national accrediting organization for home health agencies. This renewal, so just like we have to get renewed, this renewal is until 2031, right? So they can continue on to accredited people. And what happens is that if you get this accreditation, because they are approved with Medicare, this is like your survey, right? So you don't essentially get surveyed through Medicare, because if you have this accreditation, then they're going to say, oh, you were accredited with ACHC. We have approved their standards. We have approved their requirements. We have approved their Medicare, their policies and procedures. And if you show us, boom, I got accredited through them, I went through their survey process, then you have your segue into your Medicare approval. Do you still have to do your financial solvency requirements? Absolutely. Absolutely. Right? So only thing you're left with is obtaining clients and your financial solvency. So Chill Sexy Cool, she was posting a question. She's in Texas, right? So what you're saying is you're skilled and non-skilled, but technically, according to the state, you are, I want to say judged, you are reviewed at the skilled level. So because you are viewed at the skilled level, they because they have the PAS level, right? That's only non-skilled. But once you've entered into the world of home health, right? And you're a home health agency, then for your survey, guess what? You have to show them a skilled patient. You have to show them a skilled patient for them to approve you as a skilled agency, right? They do the same thing with an accreditation process, where if you're supposed to have 10 clients for your survey, at least 7 of those clients have to be skilled. 3 can be unskilled, but 7 of those clients have to be. So you can't just You can't just get approved with non-skilled clients, even though you are both. I agree with you. You are both, but they are going to evaluate you at the higher level. Thank you for sharing the live. You guys can continue to share and also give the hearts. Okay. And because I'm going to share these article links in my Facebook, my Instagram stories, then if you want to see where I'm getting some of these articles from, they're not hidden, then you can click on the link and go from there. I don't understand. You said the federal government. How do you get skilled clients? You got to market for skilled clients. You got to market for skilled clients. Huh? And I'm not even trying to be smart. You got to market for skilled clients. Okay, so here is another article. I'm literally reading these articles as I go, right? So I got a notice that these are healthcare. The healthcare news is, for today has come to my inbox, and I'm literally reading it with you guys, breaking it down. Okay, so this one is kind of cool, right? This is people age independently, but Medicare seldomly picks up the bill. Don't we all know that, right? So this gentleman has been having a terrible time. In his mid-80s, he had a stroke. Uh-oh. This is good, right? This is the market is telling us a need or pain point. Okay. And then he had lymphoma. I know I just butchered that. Prostate cancer. Then prostate cancer. If you have been following me for any period of time, this is giving us 3 groups of people that we should be targeting. People who have strokes, lymphoma, and cancer, not even necessarily prostate cancer. He was fatigued, isolated, not that steady on his feet. Wow, this is giving us so much juicy content. Like, I can literally turn this into a social media post. I can go talk to a referral source about, and I can, have you guys ever heard of the term storytelling? Have you ever heard of the term storytelling? If you've heard of the term storytelling, give me the number 1. It is it's something we do in marketing. It's more used in social media, right? But it's something is used in social media. It's used in marketing presentations. Have you ever heard of the term storytelling? If you have, give me number 1. Thank you so much for the hearts. Okay, story, you have. Okay, you have. Okay, so not that many people have heard of storytelling. So, for an example, I would use this story in a presentation and like a stop by at a facility, and just checking to see if you basically in my building relationships, I would talk to have a quick chat or some kind of handout with the case manager, discharge planner. Yeah, we recently heard of a gentleman who had 3 complications, and he had suffered from a stroke, he had prostate cancer, lymphoma, and so we were wondering if you have other clients and patients that are getting discharged who may need help getting back on their feet after they leave your facility. Some of the things that we want to assist them with could be, helping them figure out being back at home again. This is what the article is telling us, right? We also partner with handymen that can help make their home environment more safe. This is what the article is telling us, right? He said over 4 months, they sent a occupational therapist, which he needed because of the stroke, a nurse, a handyman worker to his home to figure out what he needed to stay safe. They put grab bars and rails and build a bookshelf, right? So I'm kind of showing you guys how I would use something like this to my advantage in my marketing material, social media. I would look to build partnerships. Okay, so now I'm looking for handyman. A handyman that, how much would you charge to do a grab bar and rails? I would go through the whole story. Okay, now, all right, so now if I have a new client that's coming home and they don't have hand bar and rails, then we can come up with maybe a bath program. And because we're going to install these grab bars when they're in their bathroom, then we're going to get them back to their home environment where they're going to be independent again, but meanwhile they're staying safe. I'm going to partner with some occupational therapists, and we're going to learn what will be the needs of a post-stroke client after this event. So essentially, we're reading these articles, we're learning more about our industry because it's the things that but it's that so you can know 80% about your business, about our industry, right? But it's the 20% that you may not know that you need to utilize more frequently in your conversations with your referral sources, in your conversations directly with the client. So it says here, reading is the kind of a backdoor for his cognitive health and brain exercise, right? So that could be, we learned that reading is a good exercise to enhance your brain health and cognitive abilities. So once a week in our customized or individualized care plan, we want to take them to the library. Now, I shared that recently my my Instagram page got hacked. So you can now find me right now at Home Care Mentor. I'm trying to pin it. Home Care Mentor. Okay, let me write it down. Home Care Mentor on IG. Not my pen. Okay. All right. So the point is that you're not creative enough. You're not creative enough, right? Okay, so let me do one more article and then I'm going to get into our main subject. Okay, now again, I'm reading this from scratch, so I'm just going to pull this one up. And for those of you asking, this one comes from the daily recap, right? It's comes from the daily recap, right? I'm disabled. I'm terrified about Medicaid cuts that mean for my life, right? Let me share it on here. Okay. All right. So in this article, the person is saying in early January, they received a letter in the mail from the Wisconsin Department of Health Services. The letter informed me that I have been approved for Medicaid-funded home care, home and community-based services. You guys remember that term that we shared? That's a part of your industry vocabulary. Does everybody remember what HCBS stands for? HCBS. If you know what it stands for, write it out in the comments. Thank you for the hearts. We're trying to get, our goal is to get up to at least 7,000. Yep, home and community-based services. Yes, home and thank you so much. Thank you so much. A form, okay, so home and community-based services. A lot of the services that we are going to provide as home care agencies, personal care agencies, homemaker companion agencies, direct support agencies, nursing agencies, skilled nursing agencies, home health agencies are going to be funded mostly, especially from Medicaid, as a home and community-based service, right? This is our group. This is where we get grouped in. This is where we're going to find, I would say 80% of our waivers are going to be under home and community-based services, right? Right? And so according to the article, it is a form of long-term care, right? Meaning they understand that the person has some kind of chronic condition, some kind of illness that is going to be ongoing, right? But guess what? It's good for us. It's cheaper for them to be at home than to be in a facility, right? And if it's more, home care is more cost effective. Home care is more cost effective, right? Even if you're charging $30 an hour for personal care, even if you're charging $60, $50 or $60 an hour as skilled nursing, guess what? It's still cheaper to keep them in a home setting than at a facility. It's still, it is. We are the most cost effective choice, right? So they basically said it had been 5 months since since I applied to the program to be discharged from the hospital. Okay, so she got approved after being discharged from the hospital. So if you're asking a question, hey, should I be marketing my home care business to hospitals? Yes. Yes. Even if it doesn't seem like it's working, right? You need to have that. You need to diversify your referral sources, right? Some people come straight from the hospital, right? Oh, okay. Some people come straight from the hospital, right? After being discharged from the hospital, and she got discharged from the hospital August 2024 as a new full-time wheelchair user. Okay, bing, 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 bing. Full-time wheelchair user. Okay, she needs help getting around. She needs mobility assistance, right? Right? Okay, receiving home and community-based services, among other things. I now have to. I now had care workers who can help me physically. Okay, let me point. Let me share this out. Receiving. I now have care workers who can help me physically, lift me up in my wheelchair, up the 20 stairs to my inaccessible apartment so that I would be able to occasionally leave my home. It also meant I no longer had to worry about how I would get food, shower, safety, or take care of the trash putting out from out my door. Wow. Guess what? She's not even a senior. She's not even a senior. She needs all of those help. Then she goes on to say, I am one of at least 5.8 million disabled and elderly Americans who rely on long-term care insurance to survive, right? This is Wisconsin, right? So remember, we were looking in our Wednesday home care I was gonna say Kickstarter class. We gave you guys the big number, right? By 2030, 5 years from now, the home care industry, not even the healthcare industry, is the hospitals, is the nursing homes. The home care industry is going to be a 500 billion-dollar industry, right? The seniors alone is going to be 70 million seniors age 65 and above. And this person in this article is underage. She's not even qualified as a senior. So she said just because, YouTube has the advantage, I want you guys to see I'm one of 5.8 million. I'm going to let you see the at least 4.2 million of those Americans receive home and community-based services, a form of long-term care in our homes. Home and community-based services are funded through, remember we said, Medicaid waivers, in which Medicaid grants are eligible to people that meet certain sets of criteria. Okay, translation. Let me read the part that some people may have their fear stuck on. While eligibility for Medicaid waivers varies by state, you heard that? Eligibility varies by state. These programs often do not have the same burdensome disability determinations as Social Security Administration. Did you guys hear that? So if someone wanted to get disability income or Social Security income, the standards or the determination of whether or not they would get some kind of money or support is more strict than these home and community-based services. This article I shared initially was from the Daily. Check statnews.com. Statnews.com. And this article came out yesterday, March 3rd. I'm not keeping secrets, guys. Right? This is, I said I was put the link. But here's the point. Number one, this should encourage you, especially if you're feeling overly concerned about these Medicaid cuts, right? Cuts are going to happen, guys. Cuts. I even had someone direct message me during the Zoom. I've been talking about this for 2-3 weeks. I talked about this before President Trump took office. I talked about it afterwards. I don't think you need to feed yourself daily doses of fear. You don't need to be like, you don't need to do it. Need to finish my coffee before 12 o'clock. Anyway, don't need to do it, right? You do need to have a good balance of being informed and knowing what your state, where you're currently operating, is going to do. I did mention that if your state is in a budget deficit, like Indiana and Maryland, I pointed out those two states because we showed the article, then don't be afraid. I said start preparing, right? One of the things that could make a client of yours lose hours is because you're not properly documenting, right? This goes with your quality assurance, right? Let's say you didn't do your own quality assurance policy. Let's say you never read what that means. You might think quality assurance means we just do a good job. No, quality assurance means that you are supposed to make sure that the quality of the care matches their need and the care plan, right? So if your aide is not documenting, that all they're doing is sitting down watching soap operas with their client all day long, then you may have a problem. I've had people lose hours because of documentation, right? Because of documentation. So you either need to do two things. You need to revisit these plan of cares that you have, make them a little bit more elaborate. I don't care if you're a personal care agency, non-skilled agency. You need to make them a little bit more elaborate. You need to show results. If that person has hypertension, high blood pressure, you need to say, they're on a nutrition and exercise plan, right? That your care aide is there monitoring their blood pressure. They're doing, heart healthy meals, exercising. You need to spruce it up, right? It needs to look like here's another term, medically necessary. That your services are necessary. I know Indiana has overspent. So what does that really leave the state? So what it leaves the state is that Indiana has overspent. And if one part of their money was, okay, if they get 50% of their funds from the federal government and the other 50% is from the state, then what could possibly happen is that they're going to either cut costs with existing recipients of Medicaid, meaning someone who once had, say, for example, 16 hours a day, and they realize, well, they can actually do okay with just 10 or do okay with just 12. They will first start to cut hours. Then next, they're not going to slash the reimbursement rate, but they will check to see waste, just like what Elon Musk is doing. They will check to see waste, because if the government, my sister-in-law, I have a lot of family members that work for the federal government. I'm here in the DMV, and she says, our director, I'm not going to tell you what company or division she works for. She said he's kissed the ring, right? So she said he's kissed the ring, right? So long story short, so if that governor is not playing ball, then they may have to make up what they overspent, right? They may have to make up what they overspent, right? So additional funding, the additional funding may not happen right away. But remember, if you've been following me for some time, your state is currently on last year's budget, right? Because the state fiscal year starts in July, right? So it goes July to June, July to June. So I do expect to see existing agencies may get some unexpected audits between the months of April, May, and June. It may even happen as early as the end of this month, right? Seems like they're focusing on other departments. But April, May, and June is typically around the time that existing agencies get audited, right? And they can look to if there's any waste. That you would have to pay that back, right? If you double bill. So we started off with the article of the company having to pay back $3 million, right? Because they billed for hospice services, but that client wasn't terminally ill. If they can find some information like that you didn't use the right billing code. Let's say you use chore services and you should have used personal care services. They're going to take that money back, allow you to adjust it, but they're going to initially take that money back. So that's what I believe is going to happen. I strongly believe that they're going to look at existing home care agency owners who are underneath these Medicaid waiver programs, and they're going to see if you have been in compliance, mostly with the billing. That's what they're going to do their first audit. But I don't want you guys to be afraid. I don't want you to be afraid. Don't be in fear. Use wisdom. Ask God for wisdom to guide you in the next 30 days to make some adjustments internally. This is where you have to put on your administrator hat, right? Sometimes you want to be out there at the bedside, or maybe you're putting out fires with the HR hat, recruiting and staffing people, but you have to, on a weekly basis, have a home care administrator hat on to make sure that you're going to be in compliance. The administrator is responsible mostly for making sure that your agency doesn't get audited, or if they do get audited, that you're not having to pay back a whole lot of money. Like, it was hard for me to relinquish being the administrator because, like, honestly, I had a lot of trust issues because I've seen how the state rolls. But when I did, I relinquished it first to an RN. And then I trained her for like almost a year, like where she had to shadow me on a lot of things because like a good RN, she was like really heavy into the care and stuff like that. And the care is good, but the care essentially doesn't top the compliance requirements as an administrator. Sure. So I'm probably going to come on later and go over my other topic. I did write a blog recently. I've been going through a lot of paperwork that I have in my office, and I had it's called a 20 point checklist, right? That one of the guys that is trying to work with us to help you guys at ADP, he sent me and he was like, "Hey, Sean, I heard you talking about this. Here's what you were talking about." And that was like the 20 things that how you can determine, if you are using the proper classification for a W-2 employee or a 1099 contractor. And so what I did is that I highlighted some points from that 20-point checklist to make it clear and plain for you. And I put it in a blog. And then I came up with 2 checklists, right? One checklist is if you are an aspiring home care business owner, and the second one is if you are an emerging home care business owner, right? So you to go through this checklist. This is a free download. Again, I'm just getting rid of paperwork. This is the stack on my desk today, right? This is my stack on my desk today. So I'm going through this. There's a book called The 40-Hour Work Week, right? And so in the 40-Hour Work Week, it talks about like when you touch something, like completing it all the way. And so that's why after I saw it, I was like, okay, well, in order for me to feel comfortable, like just like throwing this in the trash, is I dissected it by writing a blog. So then you guys have that as a resource. I'm going to put that link in my link tree. Has like resources like how do I get my MPI number, or what are some of the best home care softwares to use. Those are just resources, right? So this is going to be added as a resource. I'm going to come back on maybe later to do some Q&A, since we took up more time than I expected. And I did that. I did the checklist. It's a very simple checklist, but it gives you some things to think about. It even includes, okay, if you're going to use 1099s, this is what you need to have in your personnel file. If you're going to use W-2s, this is what you need to have in your personnel file. I personally, I started with 1099s. I tell you guys all day long, I started with 1099s. So I got the same advice that a lot of people have gotten from Facebook groups or just from people saying, oh yeah, use 1099s. It's cheaper and it's easier, right? So, and I even mentor 2 people right now that are healthcare professionals. They say, oh, they use us as 1099s. Be that as it may, the way that they're cracking down on, okay, like I said, it's a free download. I'll put it in right after this. I'm going to put the link in my link tree. The way that they are cracking down on home care and home health care agencies, we are under the radar. We're under the radar. And remember, I said they play the long game when they're doing their investigations. That first company, they collected data from 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. They were collecting data for 8 years. So they had a strong case. So you best believe by the time they get you, it's going to be at least $1 million. It's going to be at least $1 million. And I don't know why they do it like that. I don't know if they're trying to take people out, but you know, you can make a pivot now. You can make a pivot now. This is what we did during COVID. Some pivots are slow. If you know anything about military, some pivots are slow. You move that foot and then you turn. And some pivots are fast, right? They're sharp, right? So you need to read that blog, go through the checklist, and decide which one you will make, and go from there. All right, guys. So if you're trying to find me until I get my account restored, which I believe God will bless me to do that, because I'm a faith-based business woman, business coach, and a tither. I'm gonna get my account restored. In the meantime, we're at Home Care Mentor. And look at God. Home Care Mentor is what I call myself. And that Instagram handle wasn't even taken. Look at God. I'm like, wasn't even taking. It was just waiting for me. So on that note, have a good one. Bye.